Hi, we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Uh,
Hi.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. I am with Taylor, and we are talking about the book club pick for Latinx Heritage Month, which was Here to Stay by Adriana Herrera. Taylor, do you want to tell us the synopsis and introduce yourself?
Okay. So, hi, I'm Taylor from Page Screen Taylor. I have a YouTube channel with the same name where I review books, one day hopefully film, but books. I used to do YA fantasy, but I've been sort of moving towards classic literature and romance novels. And Here to Stay by Adriana Herrera. I'm sorry, I can't get the accent as well as you, Paula. Is a
That's okay.
is about a woman, Julia, who moves from New York to Texas to follow her boyfriend in his new career, and he ends up dumping her. And she is working a great job at a nonprofit that is currently um, like in trouble. They're trying to go public, and I think that would, I don't know how businesses work, so they were trying to go public, and that would jeopardize
You
her
know,
work.
me neither.
It would jeopardize her work at her nonprofit. And it also follows another guy named Rocco, and he works with the company that is looking to sort of shut down the nonprofit work that she is doing. And the two of them
Mhm.
meet, and it's a romance. So who knows what's going to
Yeah.
happen?
Exactly. Yeah, and it was a really fun book to read. I'm really glad that Taylor and I both enjoyed it. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like with romance books by diverse authors, the kind of thing that I get is that it's not like an issue book, but we
Yeah.
still get to see like the kind of things that affect our characters. So, for example, Julia talks about how she had to study business management or something like that, or management of social work, so that she could be like, she could apply to jobs and get them so that nobody would question her anymore, even though she had already studied psychology or something like that. She had
Yeah.
something, and then she studied a master's degree in like management so that people would believe that she had everything that it. So what did you think about the characters?
So I actually really like the characters. I feel like with romance books, they're very character driven. So if the characters don't work, the book's not going to work. And luckily, I
Mm-hmm.
liked all of the characters. I wasn't sold on Rocco from the start. And I think part of that is that I listened to the audiobook and the voice for Rocco.
Oh,
It was not my favorite choice. But I did warm up to him, and I warmed up to Julia as well. And even the side characters,
mm-hmm.
what is it, the ex Gotham,
Yeah, the Gotham Exiles.
the Gotham Exiles. Like they were a lot of fun too, and I like that they had maybe like not their own fully fledged stories, but they still had
Mm-hmm.
like characters of their own, and you had the little side romance between Jose and Tariq.
Yeah.
Thank
Uh-huh.
you. I am so bad with names.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. With me, the thing that happened with me was backwards. Like I really, really loved Rocco in the beginning, and I really loved him up until I think it's too early to talk spoilers, but we're gonna do it. People are here because they've read the book. So when he breaks up with Julia and he goes like, "You deserve better," and that's not me. Like I hate that. I hate that. I understand Rogo as a character, but I just don't like it when people tell me like, "Oh, you deserve so much better than me." Like, shut up. I decide what I deserve. I decide that. You don't get to tell me what I look for in a person. I decide that. So that's something that really bothered me, but I forgave him, I guess. Because he I don't know, like I finished the book today because I'm professional, but I warmed up to him making that kind of choice, even though I feel like it was a little rushed towards
Yeah.
the end. But I loved Julia, and I loved that she was very centered in her career, and she was not letting Rocco see like blurry, because she was very specific about that, and that's why they didn't like sleep together up until like chapter 20 or something like that.
Yeah. I like the build up to that as well. That I thought that was
Yeah,
really well, and it felt like earned, sort of. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. And actually, with Julia, what I also liked was her sort of inner conflict, this sort of fear of making the same mistake she made with her first boyfriend with this
Mhm.
one, while also, people telling her, like, it's okay to take risks for a relationship. Like, it's okay to
Mhm.
trust again. But also, I get her sort of hesitation and her sort of,
Yeah.
like, fear. Like, her first boyfriend was garbage. And I think that's also what sold me on Julia right away. I just felt so bad for her.
Yeah, me too. Like it's not normal. I don't know. Like I don't know how I would react to my me moving to a whole other city, like not a semi across the country, very far away from my family, and then find out that he's not into me anymore and that he's been cheating on me, and it like no.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have handled that. And she I also love that she's vulnerable about it. She, you know, but she's
Yeah.
not dwelling on it in like self-pity or anything. Hi, Jaime. How are you in the comments? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
mhm.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say I also sort of relate to the sort of embarrassment because I feel like if I were in her situation, I'd feel sad and devastated, but I'd also feel really embarrassed that I like made this decision. I told everyone that I was moving across, the country with my boyfriend who I love, and then dumped. Like that's
Yeah, like
I would feel so embarrassed.
oh, me too, me too. Like it's just it would be mortifying to me, especially because it happened like really soon into like the moving process. At least that's what the book sort of gave me. Hi, Kev. What did you think about the plot and the like the setting, the romance ambiance?
So I actually really enjoyed the plot. I know I said earlier that I didn't understand business, and I still don't. Um, I don't know what it means to go public, or they mentioned
Mm-hmm.
IPO or anything. I don't know any
Oh
of
yeah,
that.
me
But
neither.
I did sort of like, on top of the whole will they won't they that comes with any romance, the fact that they're working sort of on opposite teams, and I also really liked the work that the company was doing, and I
Mm-hmm.
liked how passionate Julia was about the work. I love the workplace drama with Vicky. That was great. Like not great
Yeah.
in terms of the outcome, but it was interesting to watch her deal with that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that a big part of the plot was centered in the workplace meant that the workplace had to be interesting, and I think Adriana
Yeah.
Herrera really succeeded in that. Like I was very
Yeah.
invested in the coworkers and what the company did, and whether or not Julia's the nonprofit she worked for survived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. That's something that I really, really love about this book too, because I feel like it really grounded the story. Like it felt more real to experience it. And even though I didn't understand any of it, like the IPO, exactly what you said, I didn't understand it either. I have no patience, so I did not Google it. But I was like, okay, so this makes a lot of sense, and I like that it's very. It just feels really real. Um,
Yeah.
what about the sex scenes?
I thought they were really well written. They
Mhm.
I had to listen to it on audiobook, and that always is going to be a
Ooh.
little bit awkward.
Mhm.
So I also finished the book today, and I got to the sex scenes when
Oh,
I was
okay.
cooking. So that was a lot.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, I was just making my chicken, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh my god, it's happening!" um, but I thought it, like, the build up to it was really nice. I thought that the
Mm-hmm.
chemistry Julia and Rocco had worked really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that it was sort of like, I don't know, I liked how it was written.
Yeah, me too. I like that it was a build-up. Like I was expecting something a lot more smuttier. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I think I remember Adriana talking about like uh I don't know, but she was on Twitter one time talking about like the WAP um scale in romance books, and I was very into, like, I'm really into smutty romances. I talk about these openly. I love reading about characters banging. It's fun. Um, and I think that with this one, it was a build up that was very well earned. And I also love that they were like, oh my gosh, she's hot, and oh my gosh, he's hot. But um like we can't be together because we're risking our careers.
Yeah.
Hi, Candy. I found
Oh,
out
oh, sorry.
this talk was happening on Tuesday, downloaded the audiobook, and then listened to the audiobook at night. Ooh,
Ooh. This is a very
thank
good
you.
audiobook to listen to on your way to like sleep. Um,
Really?
I think so. I listened to it a bit before I went to sleep, and it sort of like lulled me.
Mhm.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
one thing I did like about the sex scenes was the communication that happened between the two characters.
Oh. Hmm.
There was a lot of like, I like this or I want that. And I thought that was
Hmm.
also a really good thing to show.
Yeah, me too. I also like that. Jesus. I also like that Rocco has like a really dirty mouth. Like he's just
Yeah.
forward. And I hadn't heard, I don't think I've read about a male character who's like that, kind of like a dirty mouth talker in bed. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
I'm
trying
gonna
to
have to like
think.
look into my Goodreads, but he was just like super into Julia, and I also love that. Um, yeah, what did everyone else think about the sex scenes? Here Jaime says that um, you blushed.
What's the first book?
Yeah, what's the first book that you read by Adriana? Can they? I mean, I don't know what you're laughing about, but I'm just being honest here. Like, I do love my smutty romances. I love my dirty talking heroes, and you
Don't
know,
get me wrong, I do too. My channel has a very good girl persona, but I do like a good smutty romance. It's basically all I've been reading in quarantine. So,
oh, great. Yeah, because I don't know, like these, I love that it's not just about the sex in this. Like it really talks a lot about consent and communication, but in a very fun way. Like you almost don't notice it, I think.
yeah, it's done in a natural way. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of asking for permission that's not just can I do X, Y, and Z, but more like
Mm-hmm.
natural and like
Mm-hmm.
I want to, will you let me, you know.
Exactly. And it's in a very sexy way, because I
Yeah.
know some people feel very iffy when those questions come up, because I think sometimes that it might make the scene awkward, but
Yeah.
in this one it's not awkward at all. Rocco is very good at what he does, so read the book. Don't be
Yeah.
scared. Yeah. Adriana does Sex and Consent so well. Read American Sweethearts. Will do.
Yeah. I'm going to add that to Goodreads as soon as this is over.
Okay. The first in the American Dreamer series. Oh, is that the one that's really smutty? Because I know I haven't read the American Dreamer series, but in the panel that I did with Adriana, she talked about how Here to Stay, she gets comments that Here to Stay is one of like her slowest burn books. But I also feel like in Finding Joy, the first book that I read by her, um, it's also a little bit of a slow burn for another reason. But so I
Yeah.
might try to read that if it's smuttier than this one. The
I will
smuttier, the
say
better. Uh-huh.
I'm usually not like a fan of slow burn romances, but I thought this one was
Mm.
done so well because I was
Yeah,
so invested in other parts of the characters' lives that I
yeah.
wasn't like, let's get to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was a reason why they weren't doing,
Anything.
doing the sex. I love Julia's parents saying that they would see her in the AM when she wanted to see Bay. Well, they went back to New York for Christmas. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that. They did not mess around. Like I would love to have parents like that because my mom would have just been like, "So where do you think you're going?" And I would be like, and like I feel like she would be fine. I don't know. Like I don't know. I've never been in that situation, but I feel like she would be like, okay, you're a grown woman, you know what you're doing, but not in the sense of say hi to Rocco for me. Like, no, she would be like, excuse me, young lady, and I'm 25.
I'm 24 and I feel like my mom would be encouraging me to go. I'm
Ooh.
I'm the prude here. My sister got like a really like scandalous Halloween costume and my mom took the pictures for her. She was like,
Aw.
"Okay, like girl, you're looking good. Let me get these pictures for you." So my mom would be very encouraging.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love the family dynamics too.
Yeah. The families were so interesting and the sort of
Hmm.
contrast between Rocco's and Julia's families
Hmm.
was really interesting, but it also made me incredibly sad.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Because they weren't easy to read at all. So I was very glad that it wasn't like a very prominent thing in the book
Yeah.
in terms of like how, I guess how graphic it was because um we didn't get many scenes with Rocco's parents, and I appreciated that because otherwise I would have had to put the book down for way longer than I actually did.
Yeah.
Um, because that thing, I don't know, reading about that makes me really, really sad. So,
Yeah, the Christmas scene was rough, and I thought it was done effectively because you were basically in there and out of there, which
mhm,
one means that you're not sort of like stuck with this horrible family for a long time, but you also understand like how fast it is for Rocco's dad to just lose it. You
yeah,
know, it doesn't
exactly.
take much, it doesn't take long. I think he was in the house for less than an hour on
Hmm.
Christmas.
Hmm.
And it also, it's devastating, honestly.
Yeah,
And like
yeah, it was a
Rocco's
lot.
mother, which who like is not great, but I also felt so sad for her too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I would love to see more of Sophia. Actually, speaking of
Mm-hmm.
side characters, like well, turning the attention to the side characters. So I feel like that would be cute, and I would love to see like a man, or I don't know, is she straight? I don't know, like anyone. I would love to see how her significant other would interact with Blue.
Yeah.
I think that
I
would be super
also
sweet.
yeah, and this is going to sound weird because I
Hmm.
love kids. I love children. I don't like
Hmm.
reading about them.
Oh, okay.
So when I
Yeah.
saw that there was a kid involved, Blue, I was like, oh God, oh man, I hope she's not a big part of this. But she, like, the part she played was like really good. I cared about Blue,
Hmm.
um, even though she wasn't on page for very
Uh-huh.
long. You know, I cared about her. She was significant enough to be his sort of driving force for Rocco, but not so much that it like took over the narrative.
Hmm.
So it's something I
Exactly.
always get nervous about when kids are involved in a romance book.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I haven't read many. I think I've read two this year with kids. And the thing that I notice is that they all sound the same. Like they always like authors just I don't know, like I don't know what they do with kids and how they like voice them or give them voice, but the two books that I've read with kids in them, the kids could be interchangeable, and I don't
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. The one I read, I think it was one that I read this year. You Had Me at Ola, which is very good.
Oh,
I thought the kid was
mhm.
handled well, but I was still like, I don't know if
Yeah,
I can put myself in the place of the female lead because I'm too young to be a stepmom.
I know. Yeah, that was very. It
Yeah.
was a lot. um, it humanized Rocco more in ways men are allowed to. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
Yeah. And I do like that he had this motivation for keeping his job and sort of doing things that might hurt Julia's career because I
Hmm.
also understand, like, I don't know what I would do if I were in his situation. It was my sisters whose
Hmm.
livelihoods were at stake.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
and
thought
it
that was
made him not selfish because he wasn't doing it just to keep the job and be rich. He wanted the money because he needed to be there for his sister and his niece.
yeah. It added
Hmm.
another layer of conflict to their
Hmm.
relationship that I thought was really, really good and well executed.
Yeah, me too. I don't I think this is going to be a series. So I don't know, like, who would you like to read? Whose romance story would you like to read?
Ooh. I think I like what you were saying about Rocco's sister. Was it Sophie or
Hmm.
Sophia?
Sophia.
Uh, Sophia. Yeah, Sophia,
Hmm.
I would really be interested in reading her story, even if there would be a kid involved. um, and I actually was really invested in Jose and Tariq's relationship. I
Yeah,
wanted more of that, especially with like
yeah.
Jose moving on from his partner's death. There was this whole little side story
Hmm.
that, not
Hmm.
moving on, but sort of going through the grieving process, but also healing and finding a new romance. I would have been really
Yeah.
interested in reading about that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good storyline. And I think it would be interesting because it is also an office romance, but it's gay,
Yeah.
and that would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't because there were other side characters, but I don't remember any. I'm sorry.
There was the student, the grad student. I feel like she would,
Oh,
yeah. There
mm-hmm.
was her, there was someone named Danny or Dan or something.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There was
He was a guy,
him.
right?
Yeah. Um I don't know who else. I feel like the twin sisters who run the company are a
Mm-hmm.
little too old for the general like romance age. It's usually like 23 to 35. That seems to be the
Mm-hmm.
range of most romance books, but I guess they're a possibility.
Yeah, and they were really sweet. I love that
I
they
like
were into continuing on their grandfather's legacy and mission. Because Adriana talked a little bit about that too in the panel. She said that, like, these characters who have a ton of money and they would give it to people who don't have that kind of money, people who need all of that money. I love
Yeah.
how thirsty the grandma was for Rocco. Me too. She reminded
Yeah.
me a lot of like Mulan's grandma. You know, how she's like, "Do you want to stay forever?" Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun. Like Julia's family was all like great. I loved her social worker dad, and it seemed like she took after her dad a lot too because they both like to therapize people.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and I liked her mom too, and her like not really bratty but kind of moody teenage sister.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she was fun to read too, even though she were yeah. I got you. I understand.
Yeah, she wasn't bratty, but she was moody and over it. She just wanted a TV in
Yeah.
her room.
Yeah, she was a teenager. That was me as a teenager. So I understood are you having an emotional moment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what else do you want to talk about? What else do the people in the comments want us to talk about in the book? Because there's, oh, I also love that it talks about Rocco getting therapy.
Yeah, yeah. That was a nice thing to include because I feel like when I read a lot of these stories, there isn't as much mention of therapy or something. So it seems like the romance is what brings closure. And I feel like you shouldn't rely on romance or dating or a partner to be your therapeutic closure or your catharsis. If you can, and Rocco has the means to get therapy, you know, I think he definitely, you know, should. So I did like that they
Hmm.
mentioned that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it really normalizes therapy because I don't see it in YA. I see a lot of mental health representation in terms of a character dealing with anxiety, a character dealing with depression, but very rarely do we get like positive therapy representation. And
yeah,
I like that, especially for adults. I think that's a group. I mean, I'm in that group, but I think it's an age group where it's difficult to admit that there's something going on with you that where you need professional help to get through it or work through it and stuff like that. So I really
yeah.
love that it's there, and Rocco has been doing therapy for a while now.
Yeah. And I think it's also great that it's the like man in this book getting
Hmm.
therapy because I feel like there's also this social stigma against like cis men getting therapy because it's not like manly or, it's
Yeah,
emotional or something.
yeah,
And, therapy is for everyone. And so I'm happy.
exactly.
Exactly. And, based off of his childhood and what he had to go through, that's the best option for him. So,
Hmm. And I also love that he puts it into practice. He's whenever he talks about his dad or something like that, he's like, this is not what I learned in therapy. Like, I know better because I went to therapy. I know not to like give in to his
yeah.
manipulation, I guess.
Yeah, he like uses it and tries to be better than the person his father was. So that's also
Exactly.
what sort of endeared me towards Rocco.
Yeah.
Only the
Yeah,
voice
he's
on
a
the audiobook wasn't so bad.
yeah, oh my goodness. That I wanted to read the audiobook because I was in the middle of a couple of books, and the plan was to finish a book before I finished Here to Stay, so that I could switch the how do you say it? I could switch the audiobook
Right.
so that I could listen to that, but in the end, I didn't work out. So I just read my copy, the print that I had. It's not print, it's ebook. Um, and oh my god, I appreciate your input on the audiobook because I think audiobooks are super tricky in romance books, and I don't know what it is about men in romance books that I don't love their voices.
Yeah. How do you feel about swearing on this? Because there was one line that was mentioned. It's not a big swear, but I don't swear on my channel, so I
Oh,
always ask.
go ahead.
Okay. But like at one point Rocco refers to Julia's like luscious ass. But with the audiobook narrator, I wanted to pepper spray someone. I was
Oh
like,
my
don't
god.
talk about her like that. The voice was just really creepy and a little too fast. Like with the
Oh.
Julia narration, I could keep it on 2.0 speed, but for Rocco, it had to be on 1.7 speed. I couldn't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't personally recommend the audiobook.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, it's wild how your perception of the characters change based on how you read the book. Because yeah, I remember reading one audiobook or listening to one audiobook, and the male character, he sounded like he was really bored, and it
Mm.
was like, so this happened, and then she entered the room, and I was really like hot for her, like not in those exact words, but the general idea. And I was like, are you really? Because I don't I don't get that from your voice.
Are you okay?
Yeah, like just it's rough with some
Yeah.
audiobooks.
It.
But oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to ask like the people in the comments if they had any comments on Rocco or Julia or the sex scenes or whatever.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Oh, I was also going to say like I really liked all of the Latinx representation in this
Mm,
book. Julia being Dominican and Puerto Rican and Afro Latina, which for some reason I didn't pick up that Julia was Afro Latina until halfway through the book. It's been a weird week. But at one point she said, "Oh, I'm Afro Latina," and I was like, "You are? It's on the cover."
yeah, it is in the cover.
It's been a really rough week for me, so I did really like that. Because I mean, depending on who you ask, I am Afro Latina. Like I said, it
Mhm.
depends on who you ask and what's going on there. But that was really nice to get that sort of representation there, and to have like a Latina character with a
Yeah.
very Latinx family with a group of Latinx friends, or mostly
Yeah.
Latinx friends, was really nice.
Yeah, that was really fun. And I love the food mentions. Like I was so on board with all the food that was referenced in the book. It was a super
Yeah.
foodie romance, and I love that Rocco mentions that she was that the grandmother was offering him more and more and more food. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. My roommate freshman year of college was she was Cuban, and her family came up and they had become convinced that we were starving at college, so they brought us a whole like giant tray full of pastelitos. And we
Oh,
were eating that. We froze some and we were just eating them for months. And so
yeah. Oh my God,
like,
that's so sweet though.
so nice of them. They were convinced that, you know, the we weren't eating or we weren't full from like the gringo food. So
I was also a little confused because the reader for Rocco is also the same reader for the lead in the first American Dreamer. And I was like, I wait, I thought you were gay in the last book, so it tripped me. I mean, yeah, that could happen. I love that in the first third of the book, she mentions having girlfriends who understand Black feminist theory.
yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I only accept those kinds of people in my group. Yeah, well educated people. I appreciated that too.
Yeah. I did like sort of mentioning that camaraderie between like people of color.
Hmm.
When I left college and moved back home, my friend group back at my old place, they were entirely people of color, and there's that sort of camaraderie of knowing like, you know, America's racist, but at least we've got each other, and we can sort of
Yeah.
relate to that, to being discriminated against in that way.
Hmm. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was. We
Good
still
sense
talk all
of
the time.
community. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. So I think we covered it. Does anybody else have anything to say? Do you have anything else to say, Taylor?
I recommend it. It's a great book.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I also recommend it. Um, anyone else with any thoughts? I'll wait a little bit.
I like that Jaime referred to the twins as Mary Kate and Ashley. That
Oh
was fun.
yeah. Yeah, Mary Kate and Ashley in their 50s. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
like
twins were
that
so.
they were really like fun, but they weren't unprofessional. Like they were not trying to like bribe Rocco or anything. It was just in their nature to be kind.
Yeah, and the narrator of the audiobook gives them like Texan accents, so it was very true.
Oh, I would have loved to hear that.
That was one of the
So
better
yeah, so it looks like nobody else has anything else to say, and I think we covered what the book is and our thoughts. So thank you everyone for watching and for interacting with us in the comments. Thank you, Taylor, for doing this with me. I'm glad we both
parts for
enjoyed
having me.
here this day.
Thank you for having me,
Um,
Paula.
yeah, of course. And I'm super glad that we both loved the book.
Me too.
So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget that for October or the remainder of October, I'm reading with Seal from the book Voyagers. Bear with Me by Lucy Eden, which is a shifter slash paranormal romance. And the date for the live show is still to be announced, but join us. It's going to be fun. Um, so thank you again, Taylor, for doing this with me. And we'll see you next time. Bye.